Live from Casa del Rio in Nashville, Tennessee, just down the river from the Grand Ole Opry, it's the Dreamers Road with Stephanie Urbina Jones and the Honky Tonk Mariachi. Grab a seat, grab a drink, saddle up, and let's take a ride down this Dreamers Road. Vamonos, y'all.
Vamonos, y'all. Well, good evening. Hello, everybody. This is Stephanie Urbina Jones. I'm so excited to be here with you all tonight. I have a very special guest joining me. It's amazing to hear the stories of how my Dreamer's Road meets another's Dreamer's Road, and then to hear their story. You know, the magic moments, the destiny that happened when they were hard at work, the grits, the gravy along the way, the crash and burns. You're going to hear it all tonight from my guest, William Stidham, who is an amazing artist joining us tonight from Mexico. I want to tell you just this about the way we met. You know, whether it was down some honky tonk highway in Texas, in an art gallery, in a classic country artist that we both know and love, through music, through Austin, through our hometowns of San Antonio, or finally in the heart of Mexico in San Miguel de Allende, another beloved home of mine, with the Magic Town Music Festival. I ran into this artist who I'd known for now over 10 years, his work, but had not met his Sacred Heart. You're going to get to meet him tonight. But before we get there, I want to share a little bit of my story. My Dreamer's Road, as you all know, I came to Nashville. I went down to Tootsie's Orchid Lounge and I carved my name in the bathroom wall there. I was here. I was destined. I was going to do something I didn't know yet. It would take me 25 years for the roads to converge and to come together. But here's one of those magic moments where I honored a legend of country music, now past, Miss Patsy Cline, on the Grand Ole Opry stage, Honky Tonk Mariachi, you guys, walking after midnight. Check it out. was such a fun moment. I look forward to making more music there at the Grand Ole Opry. But tonight, I'm going to introduce you to William K. Stidham, my friend Bill. Mike, why don't you bring up his picture so they can see this creator's heart through his eyes? William K. Stidham is a 56-year-old expatriate Texan living in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico, an internationally recognized watercolor artist who is known for capturing the essence of iconic musicians. He captures in paint what your ear hears and your heart feels. His two best-known series are the Sacred Heart series and more recently his Life Force series. The Sacred Heart series is a collection of iconic people who have shifted the planet with their gifts, talents, passion, heart, energy. He uses this series to help remind people to remember, what are you doing with your Sacred Heart? The Life Force series came about in lockdown, COVID. He felt compelled to bring something new forward, more color, life, movement. Bill came to painting late. He spent the latter part of his 20s into his 30s writing a contemporary fiction novel that got representation, but was never published. Crestfallen and exhausted after years of pushing, he had learned how to be creative, but was completely burnt on writing. So at age 35, he walked into a Walgreens in San Antonio, Texas, and bought a children's watercolor kit and started painting. Since that day, he hasn't stopped. Turning full-time at the age of 43. Watercolor is mercurial. Once it's down on paper, it is down, but it also lends itself to the emotion and movement. Bill never bothered going to art school or even watching a video online. He just started painting. What shines in all his paintings in his own recognizable style and technique. Bill, his art, and his booth have been featured at over 100 music festivals, including multiple ACL, Outside Lands, Bonnaroo, Lollapalooza, Summerfest, and Sonic Temples, just to name a few. He is married and dedicated father to his 6-year-old son, Liam. Bill spent the first 20 years of his professional life in corporate sales. He grew up in San Antonio, Texas, just like me, and graduated from the University of Texas in 1987 with a BS in radio, television, and film. His hobbies include pop culture, music, reading, film, spiritual studies, and sports. He likes rock and roll, Texas dance halls, Tex-Mex, cheese enchiladas, hanging in shady bars or cantinas, drinking and listening to music with friends. You guys, I'm so honored. I want to start this interview with just a little bit from his new documentary, Life Force. Check this out.
Hi, my name is William K. Stidham. My friends call me Bill. I've always gone by Bill. I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but me and my family, we moved to San Antonio, Texas when I was 6 years old. And I was basically raised in San Antonio. My parents grew up in Texas and their parents grew up in Texas, so I really relate to being a Texan. I think that's part of who I am. My dad was a corporate guy, and he was highly intelligent and a great marketer. My mom was a super capable woman who basically was self-taught. They basically, I think the way that the biggest impact they have on me after looking at it 55 years is that, you know, they loved me and they wanted what was best for me, but they also gave me this idea of how to work hard, how you have to work for everything that you get, and also that I was capable of doing anything that I wanted to as long as I put my mind to it. And put the effort behind it. So I don't think that they had any idea that I was going to make a living being an artist. My dad was already passed when that happened, but my mom was very concerned about it. And but she would call me all the time. Like, she'd call me in the middle of shows just to make sure things were going good. And, you know, I miss them both.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my deep, deep joy and honor to introduce you to the artist and my friend, William K. Bill Stidham. Welcome, Bill.
Hey, Steph, how are you
Hola,
doing?
amigo. How are you?
Well, I feel really, really good to be a part of this with you.
Well, I'm honored to have you. I really mean that. You don't know this, but I ran into, and we'll talk more about this later, but you're one of your first paintings that really shifted things. And in a gallery, in a furniture store on an interstate in Texas. And all I know is that it still lives in me. The impact that it had when I first saw it, felt it. And so I'm so happy to have you on here. And let's start with, I want to let everybody know Bill is coming to us from San Miguel de Allende,
Orale, here we
Mexico.
are.
Here we are. Well, so I want to start with, it was really sweet to see that picture of your parents and the heritage, and it really touched me talking about the love. Well, what was it about either your parents or growing up in San Antonio? Was it the Wild West of Texas and the cowboys and that independent spirit? What would you say were the little thing or the things that really made you,
Well, thank you for asking that question. I rarely get the chance or opportunity to talk about my parents and their impact on my life. But, they grew up in a different time. They grew up in a time that really valued hard work and education. So they also raised me with the sense or the idea that I was capable of doing anything as long as I put my mind and effort toward it. So, they gave me a really strong work ethic and belief in myself. It took me a long time to get here. And not that I've arrived, but I'm getting closer and closer, I feel, every day. And being on your podcast is part of it. So thank you.
Oh, well, that's really, really beautiful. I mean, hard work, love, and the belief in you. Oh my gosh, that light shining, saying you can do whatever you want, and instilling that hard work. Because obviously, when any of us streamers hit those moments, which we'll talk about down the road, that hard work ethic has to come in, right? And what about Texas? There's something about being a Texan. There's something about growing up on enchiladas in San Antonio. How did that influence your heart?
Well, I totally identify as a Texan, and like growing up in San Antonio, we might as well be the northernmost city of Mexico, if you know what I mean. Right. I was just completely, saturated emotionally and spiritually with the idea of being a Texan, because I was like the third generation Texan, and my dad was kind of hardcore Texan, and everything about it, man, from a love of Tex-Mex, very, very particular about my cheese enchiladas, very particular about, all the infusion that happened with the German Mexican influence with polka and Tejano and Conjunto. And then, I grew up basically in Flores Country Store on Sunday afternoons from the time I was 6 on, because my dad at that time was president of Lone Star Brewery. So we would go see Willie Nelson and Ray Price when I was 7 years old.
Whoa!
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And plus, my dad was friends with Charlie Pride. And, I was just raised in an environment where he achieved a lot. So from nothing. And like, he just raised me the same way. My mom too. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, son, and get after it, So that's kind of like the motto, the tenement that I've lived my entire life with is just going for it. But the Texas part of it really influences me, and the Mexican part does too, because not only did I grow up in a Hispanic culture, but I ended up marrying a beautiful woman from Mexico.
She is beautiful. She is beautiful inside and out. I've had the pleasure of meeting her once. That's really, thank you for that. I have to say, in reflecting back to you, just how important, again, your parents' love and belief, those are cosmic breadcrumbs in your heart. The fact that, you grew up in San Antonio, that was so much, like Mexico, the heart of Mexico, which we love so much. And then, oh my gosh, the fact that you like it was no big deal for you to meet these icons, these people who are, creating the music that was our life, that was our soundtrack. That's just amazing. So, well, let's go to your, I read and everybody we'll talk more about this down the road, but he's got a new documentary called Heart Force that is amazing. It's his biography. It's more of his biography, and I encourage everyone to. We'll have his website up here in a minute, and you go there and go and check it out. It's wonderful. But one of the things they talk about that intrigued me is that your friends said, of course, y'all were just playing music, and we lived in the Menudo in San Antonio in Texas of all this amazing styles, music fusing together, and y'all were playing all this music, but that you went, I think it was in high school, and got art lessons. Like, where'd that come from?
Yeah, it wasn't. This is kind of an interesting story, Steph, okay?
Yeah.
And not to be too metaphysical, but I'm like a real Aquarian. When I was in 6th grade, my aunt thought it would be a good idea for me to get art lessons because I drew all the time. I took a couple of lessons from that lady in 6th grade. And she told me I was doing it wrong, and I left immediately. I said, doing it wrong. In 6th grade, I said, doing it wrong. I mean, how could I be doing it wrong? So I didn't paint from that point forward until I was 35.
Whoa. I didn't know that part of the story. That's so important in your destiny.
Well, yeah, it's like recovering. That was kind of a blow, and then I just kind of put that part of me. I put a hole in me and dug it down inside there, and it was there. It was there the whole time. And I mean, I explored it through writing and everything else, but I came back to it when I was 35, and it's really who I am and what defines me now as a person, or especially in the public.
It's so crazy. This is so wild. I hope anybody that's listening, I think this is so important. For me, the inspiration of this show, obviously I get to commune with people that I love and respect and learn from them like you, but also it's to create this story of inspiration. And people think when they see like a living artist making a living with an established, like passionate life that's fulfilled and fulfilling, they want to know, we want to know what it took to get there, and it's important. I think, all for me as an artist, as a writer, as an entertainer, some of those moments where they were the hardest for me when I really wanted to go back to bed were some of the most humbling, beautiful moments, because it broke my heart open. And from there came my sacred heart pouring out. And of course, I can't help but say that's what I feel when I feel your work, like I seriously, I can't remember how long. It's like time stood still when I saw this piece of work in this store off of some interstate near Johnson City, Texas. I mean, I just stood there. I felt it, and that is from your life. That's your life force, your heart force, So speaking of that, let's talk about, tell us about, what other were the crash and burns, those moments that really, were, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Where were those moments that really touched you?
Well, I think there's a touchstone that happens multiple times in our lives where we're crushed by life. And, I think initially growing up a middle child with a very dominant older sister, who sucked the air out of the room. And she ended up passing away when I was 21 and she was 24. That really spun me. That really sent me for a loop. And I started, I was always kind of a deep kid, but I started digging a lot deeper after that. And then, it's just like living. Living will teach you lessons. And some of those lessons aren't the easiest ones, but the hardest lesson probably for me was trust. You know, I think so many people have the hardest time trusting their heart, their intuition, their belief system. And so for me, I was like afraid to be who I was for a very long time. And really who I was a creative. So I ended up writing a novel when I was between the ages of 27 and 30. And that book didn't happen, man. I had one of the top agents in the literary field. They were looking for high concept novels back then, something they could turn into a movie. And my book was kind of like A Sun Also Rises for Generation X. And I think it struck the right emotional chord. It was just too early for it. So after that happened, completely crushed, that's when I went to Walgreens and picked up the watercolor kit. And what I found is that I was able to express my emotion and my inherent questioning and talent and gifts or whatever in painting. And watercolor is a wonderful metaphor for the mercurial nature of spirit and emotion. And I created a style, thank God, that is my own. And like that in itself is a blessing. It's kind of like you with the mariachi, you know? I mean, you just, you know, what was really singing in your heart, you brought forward, and it took a long time, right?
Yes.
I know we wished it wouldn't have been so hard, but I think part of that really speaks for our art. Wouldn't you agree?
I would. I don't regret a moment. You know, I had so many close moments to having the break, you know, the big break that the only way I could imagine what that success would be like. And I'm so grateful now personally that they didn't happen, because I so appreciate these moments. You know, I love my life, you know, and that comes from these crash and burns. Well, you guys out there, I want to take you now to a little part of a video from Heart Force, Bill's documentary. And I really, because this is important for all of us dreamers, you're hearing this story of him listening to his heart and really surrendering to it. And so I really want you to take in this moment, this moment, this crossroad crisis of faith moment, and what happens.
And I'd gotten very despondent. And I was at a point in my life at around age 40 that I said, okay, God, if you wanted me to be successful, why haven't I been successful yet? And it was such a restless feeling, and to have that restless feeling your entire life, 40 years is pretty hard on your psyche. So I started pouring wine, bourbon, water, coffee, whatever on top of my paintings to destroy them, because I was so sick of it. I wanted to quit, and I wanted to quit everything. So when I was trying to destroy these paintings, I was also trying to bring them back to life. So I would blow dry off all that stuff, and then I'd try to make the painting presentable again, and these were interesting results.
I love his work. I remember the first time I saw it when I met him about 14 years ago. And by then he was painting couples, mainly women and couples. And then I thought it was amazing, the colors that he used. But then his work has been progressing. I have seen how it has grown and how it has evolved through the years. And I'm very proud of being married to an artist who has created his own expression and who has been able to, you know, make a living with it.
So about that time, a dear friend of mine, Donna Galvanauskas, she'd been on me to paint Willie Nelson forever. And at that point, I was just like, I'm not going to paint famous people. I mean, why? And sometimes you got to be aware of people who come into your life and for the reasons they came into your life. So I finally said, yeah, I'll do Willie Nelson. I read the book, The Tao of Willie, which is an amazing book. And I sat down and I decided to use basically 3 colors: red for Willie, the redheaded stranger, black, and this metallic gold gouache that I was going to use as a nimbus effect. But when I poured the water on top of that one and I washed in the red and I washed in the gold and I blow dried it off, I literally thought I was coming outside of my body. Like I was floating. And I was just shaking and floating, and the painting, it turned out amazing. I took it to work the next day, and Summer Novak started crying when she saw it. So in a sense, I knew I was onto something.
And then when he started painting the Sacred Heart series, which I think was his launching to stardom, and after that, well, everything he has done, I just love it. I love the concept of, my favorite one is Sacred Heart, because of the concept, because of the message.
Now, the Sacred Heart series, I love music. Music is the milestone, the emotional mile marker for all of our lives. Well, not for all of our lives, specifically my life. And what I found out was a lot of people felt the same way I did. So music moves me, it marks my memories, and I have a passion for it. So I started painting my favorite musicians in the Sacred Heart style, which is, it's grounded, it's earthy, it's strong, it's got a mystical quality. And what I try to do is channel the people that I paint and the music and the feelings and the times. So this series, the first time I showed it, I sold an original, 2 originals. It was unbelievable to sell originals and to have that kind of response. So I became known as the dude who paints musicians. And I like painting portraits because portraits, if you do a portrait right, you're basically capturing a person's life story right here.
It touches me so much. It's just unbelievable. There you go. There he is. There's the redheaded stranger. Well, Bill, so that is the painting that I came heart to heart with in that store that I wandered into just by chance, probably 12, 15 years ago. I'm not exactly sure. And I felt your spirit and Willie's spirit. It's like we were in communion. And so I really want to ask you, it seems like this whole story, cosmic breadcrumbs, divine intervention, how does your faith play a role in your life and in your work every day?
Well, I couldn't operate without faith. I think about this all the time. I was really fortunate in that I had an inherent intuitive faith as long as I can remember. I always knew that I had a relationship with Spirit, with God, from the earliest memories. I didn't ever feel separated. I've never felt separated from Spirit, from God. And, I'm not going to go too deep into my faith, but, I'm a Western civilization person. So I have my faith is in my upbringing, my, belief in Christ and all that. But, the faith is the only thing that's held me together for 56 years. And every time I go into a painting, it is a spiritual exercise. It is a spiritual exercise. So I'm tapping directly and deeply into my faith. And that Willie Nelson painting really represented my family. And the only glue that we really had through all these tragedies and divorce and deaths and all that in the family was Willie Nelson, redheaded stranger and Stardust Memories, okay? And those times at Floor's Country Store when I was 6 years old, listening to him on Sundays, tamales and chili out at Floor's Country Store with saltines, pinball machine.
Oh
So I hope that
my.
answers your question. I mean, does that even broach an answer?
It captured it as the most beautiful in the most beautiful way. It really brought it all together. I really appreciate, you sharing all of these, stepping stones, things that happen along, I call them cosmic breadcrumbs, things you just can't make up, meant to be moments that when you look back, you really should see how they shaped your life, and they inspire me and they give me faith and they invite me to trust more and to keep expanding. So my prayer is that is the case for anybody else that watches this and has a little dream in their heart. Just maybe I have the faith of a mustard seed to go for it, So you are living this amazing life. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, to elaborate a little bit on what you're talking about, you call them the cosmic breadcrumbs. Over the years, I've read a guy named Robert Johnson who was like the ultimate Jungian psychologist, and he called them golden threads. And the idea is to follow the cosmic breadcrumbs or follow the golden thread, and do not be afraid to walk through the doors, even if you're scared of walking through the door.
Yes.
Probably more so if you're scared.
Absolutely. I can't tell you, right, how many times I'm like, the tape in my head is like, what are you thinking? La, la, la. Even right before my many big moments, it's just a part of the human
I'm so proud of you, Stephanie, for what you've accomplished. I mean, I'm proud to be your friend, so thank you.
You're welcome. And we have for sure magic to make. But before we go, and we've got a couple things I want to ask you. So you have this big, beautiful magic life in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. I really consider San Miguel. Hi there, Liam. How you doing? It's good to see you. Good. How you doing? Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us on
this
the Dreamers
right here
Road.
Is the biggest miracle this is the biggest miracle that's ever happened to me.
I'm getting ice cream. Oh, I love that.
I'm doing an interview, so help me out here. No. You do it over there. Hey, take it over there. Thank you.
I love that. I love that, you guys, when you watch the Heart Force, which, please everybody go to, you're going to be so inspired. Do you want to see more of Bill's work? Purchase a print, or WilliamKStidham.com. WilliamKStidham.com. Right. He has a new documentary called Heart Force. You can see everything there. He also
That's on YouTube, okay? So Steph, they're going to have to go to YouTube to find that, okay?
Okay, so everybody who's watching, go to YouTube and punch in William K. Stidham, Heart Force. Heart Force, that's the deal.
That's right.
It's a really compact 30-minute documentary on this artist's life. And for any dreamer, it's like, listen, you need to eat enchiladas to feel good, and you need to watch this documentary so that you'll be inspired, get inspired. So my question was, you're in San Miguel, you have this beautiful life and wife and Liam, you're painting your dreams, you're living an artist life. And what is the dream in your heart? Is there anything that's like, I have a dream in my heart. I'm not going to tell you right now what it is, but is there anything that you're like, that one thing would be just, I love my life, but.
You know what? That's a great question, because that's been weighing heavily on me, particularly through COVID, but more than ever in the last week. And then on Sunday, you came forward and said, "Hey, Bill, I want you to be on my show." So to answer that question, I feel a tremendous amount of gratitude for everything that I'm given, including my ability and my health to do what I do. But I always wonder, like, I always have enough. And I think that's faith in itself, like faith to continue moving forward when you've got, $200 in your checking account, faith to do a lot of things. But I always wonder, like, I don't know if you ever wondered this, but what does it take to go to the next level? And that's almost a selfish thought. But, in the meantime, I will continue to do what I'm supposed to do, which is to go down there and paint as much as possible and to continue to try to touch people's lives and encourage them to share their Sacred Heart and live their particular life force. And that's my theme in life, I think. And as long as I can make it, I'll continue to do it.
I love that. I love that. I call it, for many years it would be like, I'm just always so upset that we were always living so close to the bone, and then finally I had a realization that I was living hand to faith, and it was about this experience of communion with Spirit, with God, and I got to love it. And like you, I see your abundance and your the rainstorm of people experiencing your Sacred Heart through your work in an even bigger way. And again, I want to invite everybody to go to williamkstidham.com. He's got prints of your favorite artists. You're going to feel their heart in their eyes, like you saw in the documentary that we showed you a little bit of it. And oh my goodness, they make amazing pieces for your home, your office. And so he also does commission work for families and for special situations. So don't be afraid if you go, God, I love his style. It'd be so amazing to have a family portrait. He just might consider that, you guys. So anyway, check out his
more
work.
Than consider it.
He would love it. He would love it while he can, because things might change.
Well, I was gonna reiterate one thing, and the thing, like, there's multiple levels and layers that you and I connect. But like when I say that music acts as the emotional mile marker of our lives, it's the truth. It takes us right back to moments, and it takes us right to right now. So that's what I'm trying to capture with the paintings. And thank you. You've talked so flowery about me tonight that I feel almost overwhelmed. So thank you.
I understand. You'll just have to keep taking it on in. You can rewatch this, because I haven't said a word that I don't feel and haven't felt for years. So I guess the last thing I want to say to you is, if there, and you probably have already shared it, was there anything else you would say to any age dreamer? Anybody that has a dream in their heart? Because my dream was a 4-year-old had this dream, and here I am many years later living it finally. But what nuggets would you give to them?
Okay, I believe we're all born with a divine spark. that divine spark lives within each and every one of us, and each and every one of us is a unique soul in the universe. You are here for a purpose, and all the negative self-talk that we give ourselves on a daily basis, you need to figure out a program that you can replace that with what am I going to do to share my spirit, my unique divine spark with the world. And it's perilous at times, because we're afraid to do it. But all I got to say is like the road, to give you a cliche, the road starts with the first step. And if you have something that you really want to do, you need to freaking do it, because that's what God put you on this earth to do.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Well, I hope
Thank
that's not too
you.
strong, but
No, man, they got to know that. Somebody out there is watching and listening. They need to know. follow it, trust it, go for it. It's
Just
your own
feel
imprint.
it in your heart. You know, whatever you feel in your heart, it's trying to tell you something. So go for it, chase it. It might not always be easy. You might not make money at it, but your soul, your heart will thank you and reward you. Your life will change. And you know it, Steph, because that's how you live your life.
Yes, that's exactly it. Well, my brother, I want to thank you so much. Again, I want to tell everybody out there, please go to williamkstidham.com and check out these amazing paintings. You can get prints. There's all kinds of things that you can get. And William, Bill, I will see you in Mexico very soon, my friend. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Everybody hang out here. I want to show you this. And one more piece from the documentary. This is how Bill really shared how he will be remembered. And Bill, I'll see you down in Mexico, my friend.
Hey, much love to you, Steph.
Much love to you. Thank you.
The one that's really turning me on right now, and the one that I'm really trying to promote, is the Life Force series. And Life Force series is a culmination of 15, 17 years of painting and the things that I love to do, which is pop culture. And I'm doing it in a particular style that is very vibrant and has a lot of energy, and it's really talking about capturing moments in life, moments in history, moments in people, and the energy behind that and how it's projected. So I'm capturing moment and people's life force. And it's a little bit more metaphysical than, let's say, the Sacred Heart series, which was about, what are you doing with your Sacred Heart? This is more about how are you living your life, and are you living your life to its fullest potential? Part of the ego gets involved when you're an artist. Let's be real. You got to have a certain amount of strong ego because you're taking a lot of slings and arrows. People, they might not like your work. They might think John Lennon looks like Harry Potter. You take a lot of abuse, but you also get a lot of the rewards. So the question is, how would I like to be remembered? Most importantly, I want to be remembered as a good dad, and first and foremost, as a good person, as someone who cares and someone who made a contribution to life. I want to be considered, that I did a good job being a good husband and a loving person. So with my artwork, I think the artwork's going to live. I think it's going to live way beyond me. I hope it does. I hope my son and my family is able to benefit from that when I'm no longer here. But it's its own style. I created my own style. God gave it to me, and I worked it. I did what I was supposed to do. I'm continuing to do what I'm supposed to do, which is continue to evolve and work as an artist and trust in God that He's going to continue to provide and give me exactly what I need.
Amazing, you guys. Isn't it just amazing? I have no doubt that Bill is already remembered so much for those qualities. Well, we're going to move now to our Honky Tonk trivia, and that all relates around Bill's work. It's amazing when you go to his website, you can see all the people that he has painted their Sacred Heart. But here is the question. What honky tonk hero has William Stidham not painted yet? Is it A, Merle Haggard? Is it B, Johnny Cash? Is it C, Dolly Parton? Is it D, Loretta Lynn? Is it E, Chris Christopherson? Is it F, Willie Nelson? And by the way, you guys, the winner tonight is going to win a bar of the Honky Tonk Mariachi chocolate con chili peppers, my very own Mexico Honky Tonk chocolate you're going to love. So tune in. Here is the question again. What honky tonk hero has William K. Stidham not painted yet? Is it A, Merle Haggard? Is it B, Johnny Cash? Is it C, Dolly Parton? D, Loretta Lynn? Is it E, Chris Christopherson? Is it F, Willie Nelson? Again, you guys, get your guesses in. I know you want this Honky Tonk Mariachi chocolate con chili peppers from Mexico. Mike, do we have any folks out there that think they have? Let's see. Bill Garrett said Willie Nelson. I am sorry, Bill. You don't have it right. Guess again. Let's try it again. Is it A, Merle Haggard? B, Johnny Cash? Is it C, Dolly Parton? D, Loretta Lynn? Is it E, Chris Christopherson? Or F, Willie Nelson? Take another try out there, you guys. Who's got an answer? Who's got a guess? Who do you think that William K. Stidham has not painted yet in his amazing series? Again, I want to show y'all the winner wins these brand new. We created our very own Honky Tonk chocolate from Mexico. It's amazing. All right, we got one more chance for somebody to weigh in and give us their answer. What are they saying out there, Mike? We'll give you the question. Preston Sullivan said Dolly Parton. Guess what? You're wrong. Try again, Mr. Sullivan. All right, that's 2 down. Let's give him this question one more time. Bill Garrett said Chris Christopherson. No, he has painted Chris Christopherson. He has painted Willie Nelson. He has painted Dolly Parton. You guys should go check it out. So there's just a few. Take another chance, you guys. And again, I'm going to tell you, you want this divine Honky Tonk Mariachi chocolate con chili peppers. Everything is at honkytonkmariachi.com, you guys. Who has William K. Stidham not painted yet? Preston Sullivan weighed in with Loretta Lynn. You're right. You win this chocolate, Honky Tonk chocolate bar, Preston Sullivan. It's hard. It's amazing. You guys are going to be amazed at how many people he has captured their heart. And I'm sure soon he will capture the heart of Loretta Lynn as well. Well, you guys, we're going to move on. I want to share with you guys my Honky Tonk Mariachi merch video. As you can see, we have all kinds of really fun things. This is a new hat in my line. It's called Drinking in the Sweet Nectar of Life. I have it in black and I have it in white. These are hand painted from Mexico, and you can get them at my website, and the chocolates. And here's a little video so you can see a little bit more about what we've got.
We hope you're enjoying this broadcast of Dreamers Road with Stephanie Urbina Jones and the Honky Tonk Mariachi. You can support the Dreamers Road through music and merchandise. Visit www.honkytonkmariachi.com.
Well, you guys, this is the end of the Dreamers Road. I want to thank our guest, William K. Stidham, and I want to thank you all for hanging in and listening. I hope that this series is opening your heart. I hope it's inspiring you, and I hope it's reminding you to follow that far-fetched dream. Tune in. We'll be back 2 weeks down the road with another special guest on the Dreamers Road. Muchísimas gracias, y'all. We'll see you next time. Muchísimas gracias, y'all. Thank you for watching the Dreamers Road with Stephanie Urbina Jones and the Honky Tonk Mariachi. You can keep up with us on Facebook, Instagram, and by everything at honkytonkmariachi.com. Remember, above all, some dreams are worth dreaming a lifetime to live. Muchísimas gracias. Adios, mis amigos.